Okay, should time that right. Hello. Okay. Make sure I don't have anything. Let's bang you up. No, I'll call someone else. Hello, sir. How you doing? Okay. Today's gonna be one of them days. Hello, Taylor. Taylor's not feeling too good, so she keeps moving around and not telling you what she wants. So we'll see. We'll see how today goes. Go lay down. Go lay down. And she keeps locking herself in my room. So we'll see how that goes. I'm good. I didn't get to do anything on this last night. If I'm honest, I sat and played some games for a while and then called it an early night. So I didn't get to do anything to fix this. So we're gonna resume our debug hunting on this today. Let's see. So what I was stuck on yesterday was MongoDB. They changed the way the GUIDs are serialized. Sorry if I keep looking around and just keep an eye on Taylor in the corner of my eye. Come lie down. Come lie down. Lay down. Go lay down. Go lay down. Go lay down. You gonna be a nuisance today? You gonna be a good girl? We'll see. So yesterday I changed the MongoDB driver, and I got an issue with the GUID serialization, which is a problem I have faced in updating the main libraries. Now this does use a different version. This is going to be important to figure out how to make sure this is on the correct version, especially if they're going to introduce changes like that, where they can break serialization very simply. But the driver here, the entity framework core stuff still use the underlying Mongo driver, but then I have to maintain the same version compatibility if I'm using tools to write the data. And that's going to be true of anything I use as well, which is, that's not going to be fun. One way might be to try and create a shared NuGet package and pull this into the main application stack, but we'll see. Okay, it looks like she's settling down. Okay, I can concentrate. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to, for right this second, I'm just going to test something. BSON serializer. BSON defaults dot. Is it not BSON defaults? Let's just try and run it first, and then we'll see. I think the error will tell me what I need to know. GUID serializer cannot serialize a GUID when GUID representation is unspecified. So again, this tool is not a one-off tool, right? It's not it's not the right way. This is the problem with the documentation, the standards changing. Setting the Mongo collection settings. I could do that. Let's try that way for right this second. So this tool, the idea is that ultimately what I'll be able to do is when I need a new data source or I need to re-export a data source, let's say I change the schema that I'm holding. I don't want to, if I've created a bunch of data already in there through using the system and it's all migrated across, I don't want to have to create scripts to modify that structure when I can just re-export the entire thing, right? Yes, it's time consuming, but it's better than having to manipulate all the data and do all sorts of joining queries, etc. Shenanigans, hello, how you doing? How's things with you? So creating the tools to do the migration for me is a more solid choice, I feel. Let's just do this. Private, static, read-only, Mongo, collection settings. That's actually not true, is it? Oh, doesn't have that anymore. They don't put it in collection settings anymore either. But you do specify it, so that's interesting. Read concern, read preference. Oh. Interesting. Doing great. Good to hear it. Audio keyboard. Ooh, fancy. I will not drag that across as it is a bright white screen. Um, huh. Have you used a split keyboard before? Is that says Keyb Maker? So is that a kit that you build? What's included? No, no, it's just a keyboard. I'll split all the way. Because I've got a split keyboard, a full split keyboard, and I think if I tried a soft touch keys, I'd probably do better. But the mechanical keys split is a difficult difficult thing for me to get my head around. Gotcha. Yeah. It's quite the change. Although those keys look in a more interesting orientation. Interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure I could go full split. If I had the desk space, maybe. But I have a split keyboard. I just couldn't get used to it. So, what brand did the Primeagen originally use? It's a good one. Either way. Okay, so let's figure out this problem. So it's not that one. That's from 2018. Not that one. We'll see. I hope it helps me with my hands. If not, it's a nice one to display. So I changed back to using an actual soft touch keyboard, and I use a what's this called? The Lift, which is like the little um, Logitech raised mouse. I don't know if that will come up on stream. Um, he says, looking at the camera, and then, but yeah, I was getting a lot of pain in my hands, and the mechanical keyboard was stressing it, and using the lift mouse, my hands turn to the side a little bit. I even got one on my gaming PC, so if I'm playing RPGs and if I'm playing um, strategy games and stuff, I don't have to stress that. So I have changed to Logitech Lift. I'm gonna get a affiliate link just because it's shorter. Not trying to sell. I get that, and I switch to using um, what's it? Uh, yeah, come on, Amazon. There we go. And I switched to using that keyboard, and I've got a lot less pain in my hands now. Just that little twist of the wrist has taken a lot of the pain out. I normally sit at a better position. I'm slightly slouched here, but um, my desk is at the correct height. New Mongo client connection string. That's when I create the repository. It's okay. Can I give it settings here? Let's see, new Mongo client settings. Server equals new Mongo server address. Connection string. I would assume I can set some sort of serialization settings here, but apparently not. So here's the thing. Close that one down now. I'm using the MongoDB C# driver here. In the actual application, I'm using the entity framework. The entity framework wrapper, right? They changed the they changed how Mongo works in a driver update, which was not fun for GUIDs. It's all good. That's why I use the affiliate link. Yeah, the natural keyboard. Holy moly, $230. Is it typed for you? Oh, Right. Yeah, I used to have the old Microsoft one back 20 odd years ago. The original natural keyboard. Okay, so what I'm trying to find here is the serializer. So yeah, I've done it already. Thank you. Let's do GUID. GUIDs, serializing GUIDs. So they have this subtype 3, and theirs is default 4. You can't do this. BSON serializer, register serializer standard. This is what I think has changed. But that's weird that you can't set that in here. There's no benefit in me doing, yeah. I don't have credentials yet, so that's why I'm not panicked about that piece. Okay. But yeah. So what they're recommending is that. That might fail because of the write all. Yeah, it's failing. Cannot see as a good one when grid representation is unspecified. Really? Database get collection. Well, there's no GUID representation here. And I just registered the serializer, so okay. See right now in the ETL tool, was that random project? Did it come about from Liquid Sky? So it is Liquid Sky driven. Basically, as I start to move the Kubernetes stuff over, I was refactoring to try and cut down the number of services I was creating. And what it highlighted was the fact that I'd missed a test of something. So I'd updated the drivers to the latest version for MongoDB or for the entity framework tools, and that broke writing changes because the way they serialize the GUIDs changed. What that meant was to get it to work, I either hack some stuff in there or I reverted the driver, or I create a tool to migrate the data to the latest version. And I need the tool anyway, so it kind of just forced my hand. Now, what I'm doing here is trying to make it so that I can create a script definition and just say, okay, here from this source to this destination, here's how to do the mappings, and I'm going to build out on top of this, so I can just define a set of actions this way, and then define the data sources separately. But yesterday I updated the MongoDB driver because the first time I did it, I ran it. It made it very clear that basically I was just going to have the same information I had previously, and it wouldn't work. So yeah. I did look at libraries and tools that already do this, by the way. This is not a, hey, let me reinvent a wheel sort of thing. However, This seems like the more logical option. That way. No way to change the behavior. That's what I'm looking for. So they've changed the API entirely, right? So they're saying the following code sample creates an instance of the GUID serializer class for serializing properties. If the most of your GUIDs use the same representation, you can register a GUID serializer globally to create and register a GUID serializer, run the following code earlier in applications, such as during the bootstrap phase. So, that should go repository factory. There, say. So the way this is working right now, basically we say, okay, go and get the data provider, go get the factory, load the script. Now go through the script actions, get the data sources, build the fields that we're going from to. This isn't an actual mapping as yet. This is basically just, hold on. Identifier to identifier, name to name, email to email. Yeah, it should do that. It should pull them out. I'm wondering if I'm doing something dumb like, because I'm not mapping them. I'm just taking the objects. So the fetch all returns a list of dynamic objects. The reason being I don't have any typing, but I want them to be actual objects with the data types pulled out of the database. So it's a new driver, but using the old behavior of the BSON fields. That's what it looks like so far. So this will pull from here. And then this will, let's get here. Let's see what it looks like from a data perspective. There's already a serializer registered for type GUID. Interesting. Oh, because I don't want that there, do I? Morning module. Let's just put that there for the second. It's going to change the field name. It's going to, yeah, well, it's going to, let's see what it does. I'm rethinking this now because I think what's going to happen is it's not going to do what I expected to do. So the records look like this. There's 19 records, right? I have identifier name, email, then write all. Data. Yeah, that can't, that's not, that too is completely useless. That worked this time. Oh, no, it didn't. GUID serializer cannot serialize a GUID when GUID representation is unspecified. GUID representation is unspecified. It's not unspecified. So the problem there, that's meant to set that. But the old way of doing this was to do this. And then you set you set the serialization behavior. You set the sorry, noise happening around me that I'm struggling to block out. Like this does not matter at all. These two fields do not matter. So I'm not doing the T in the ETL right now. I'm basically just doing extract and load. However, this worked on the old driver. This worked perfectly first time yesterday, so I know that there's. Oh, if that doesn't do what I want it to do, how do I do? How do I do this? Working with two. You're working with two binary data, BSON binary data subtypes. You can combine a global serializer with the BSON. You can use an object serializer to serialize hierarchical objects to subdocuments. That's not what I want to do. To register object serializer passes to the BSON serializer, register serializer. Don't global register serialize. You must apply the BSON GUID. So the problem is I don't have an object to map it to, right? So that's I don't have anything. Because that's the point. I don't. I don't know what I want to pull out. Right back. Okay, sorry about that. I said earlier, it's going to be one of those mornings. Everything's unsettled. Okay, so I've got dynamic object. I don't have any sort of way to set the serializer because I don't know what the object looks like. So I can't say, oh, this type of object, here's how to serialize, as this suggests. You can to serialize hierarchical objects. I could try that. That's not going to really help me, is it? See if that changes things. So this is interesting that the behavior of serialization changed entirely. But I'm not, the thing is, I'm not trying to store dynamic. I'm trying to store a dynamic object. Oh, that worked. Or it got further. Let's have a look. That worked. So it's not perfect. Interesting that it just puts them in alphabetical order. Let's see what it stores it as. UUID. There you go. That's the right type. So previously it would store GUIDs as bin data. And store the type of, it would basically store, let me bring this up, it would store this type with the bin data to tell it how to deserialize it. But now it's got a UUID type there, it stores it. So that's correct. So that's interesting. So let's think about where we need to put that for real. I don't want to have the application care about that. Repository factory, MongoDB repository. Let's do this. It's not a repository, by the way. It's probably a bad name. People get upset with it. It's a provider, data provider. Hmm. Think about this. So what I want to do, repository factory, data provider is a manager. There we go. Data provider, get connection. Data provider takes the data connections in. That's not data provider then. That is a let's move the progress. Let's move the process forward. I don't need to build this ETL tool to its final version right this second, but this works now, right? In its current form, it's fine. It's bad. it isn't what I want it to be. Because basically whatever's from, it's going to go into that. The two has no bearing whatsoever. There's no mapping. There's no transform. So right now, whatever I select from becomes two. But that works for what I'm doing right this second. So projects comes from tenant management. So okay, it works. So projects also comes from tenant management. So essentially what we'll do is this source name is tenant management. Collection is projects. Destination is pipelines projects. Mapping, pretty much the same. No, that's prefix, not anything else. Prefix. I don't know why I'm doing the I don't know why I'm doing the two. It matters not a jot. So there's one other concept I want to introduce in here. Actions. Execute if not empty. False. So basically, I'll leave that as is for right a second. Basically, if it's not empty, I don't want to execute, right? This thing here is this pairing of data name, data source name, and collection. And it's used for both the source and destination. I don't know what that is. That's called. What is that pairing called? We'll find out later. Basically, what I want to do here is fetch all if action dot execute if not empty, or if it's not, if we say execute if not empty, it doesn't really matter what it is. If records dot count equals 0, continue. Really, you want any there? Interesting. Right back. Sorry about that. I heard the faintest whimper of a poorly dog. Okay. There we go. So if we can't get the source and destination, we throw an exception. That's fine. Better that than try and mess with the data and potentially have an issue. We don't get any records. There's nothing to import. Okay. So this should not try and insert the users again, but we should get projects. Yeah. There's projects. Okay. What's the final one? Oh, planning items. Okay, so now we get a test. What I might need to do here, because I think I'm leaking. Well, no, I am leaking connections. I'm returning these repositories. They are disposable. I have not done the responsible thing there. Also, caching. I'm not caching any connections. So if I pull the same thing out again, do I really want to recreate it? I don't know. Is that a step too far for right this second? Probably. Yeah, let's figure this out. Okay, so the next action would be source planning. Source name is planning. Collection is planning items. So again, the purpose of building this tool is that not all the data in the application needs to exist all the time, right? Or needs to be backed up. Sometimes I need a copy of something in one database that I have the data of in another. So only the ones where the source of truth is maintained should I actually back up, but everything else could be recreated. Changes. If I somehow lose the changes database, the very worst that happens is I take the current snapshot of all the rest of the data, right? This is a little harder. This is more of a transform because I actually have to create the events from the data and store the event because that's what I'm actually storing right now. But that's fine. The pipeline, this stores copies of this data as it comes through the system so that it can do a better comparison. So this only needs to store the most recent version of the object, but it as we get a change, if we say we changed user Jim to Bob, the changes says, oh, we changed GUID X to Y, but then when the pipeline gets it, it goes, oh, X to Y changed. Here's what X was and here's what Y is, right? It decorates that information is the goal. Yes, that was. Because you'll have Jim and Bob in there, right? You'll have both values in here. If it's a straight up text value change, then this would also contain the changes would figure that out anyway. So the intention is this will keep all the values. So this tool is going to be a necessity. As I build new pieces of the system out, as I want to set up the data, I don't have to rely upon writing scripts to migrate the data into, because again, in this case, I'm going from SQL to Mongo. I might end up going Mongo to something else, or SQL to Postgre eventually, right? Also the view is a reader-only perspective of all this data. So the view, in theory, right now it has some of its own data, so it doesn't require, but the view should not need to be backed up at all. The view can be recreated at any point. So by writing the ETL script for that, so by being able to write something like this to define what the view is and just run it, then I can wipe that out and recreate it, etc., etc., etc. And I don't have to worry about backing up this piece of the application. There are things like preferences and stuff, but I think they actually belong in a separate piece of the API. And again, those would be backed up. So we're going from source, destination pipelines, planning items, execute if not empty false. We don't want to keep overwriting it. Mapping, interesting. Planning items. What does planning items contain inside of? So here we're going pipelines, domain, entities, planning item. So we've got identifier, title, description. That's title. Description. We do not have project identifier. We have review date. Date added. Last updated. Last updated. So title, description, identifier, title, description, review date, date added. Okay, there we go. Let's run that again. So if you are new to the stream and you have any questions about what I'm doing, please feel free to ask. More than welcome. Happy to discuss this. This project is, at this point, quite the beast. Okay, so we have planning items, projects, and users. Now let's see if changes pipeline will actually work. And yes, I've just been doing all that for this one piece. So the problem was when I got the planning item processor, this changes processor base, this failed here because it couldn't pull the user out, right? Because the database, the data store was not matching what the driver expected the GUID to be, right? It then failed. So it got past that, but then it failed here because it then couldn't load the project out, right? So fetch projects, entities with identifier spec, yeah. So that's that. Fetch projects. So we got here, and then it would fail in the requirements as well, right? But the requirements are, there's no resolver for requirements yet. So let's go and run this. So if this works, it means that I've successfully managed to get the ETL tool. Oh, error while publishing message. Really? Oh, that's interesting. How the heck did you get there without getting to any more breakpoints? So basically, changes outbox. That's that one. That's Kafka messaging outbox. Oh, you can't drop from within the tool, can you? No. Oh, yeah, I know how. Drop that. Um, what are you trying to publish? Pipelines infrastructure. That's this one. The pipelines. This is the pipelines receivers. Oh, what are you doing? Changes outbox. Oh no, what are you doing? That's bad. Get connection string. No, what are you? Hold on. Oh no, 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 no. Let's do this. Let's not do that. Let's do that as pipelines. Outbox. That's a really confusing naming. So changes in pipelines. eh, Pipelines is a very bad name. But it changes and pipelines are part of the same. It's all about manipulating the what the system says is changed and producing more enriched data. Um, let's have a look. Did that just create something? Okay, so that isn't doing what I think it should do because probably localhost 8080. What? No. No. Let's start beget. Did I not do Kafka up again? Ports are not available. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, so flag. Yeah, notifications integration. No, pipelines integration, lag 0. That's not right. So what we need to do here is we need to go to pipelines integration, edit here, update offsets, and we need to change that to 172. Right? Because again, what we're doing is we're taking all the changes that have come through, right? And we're decorating those changes. So it doesn't matter if they're for the same object. No, the challenge is it does matter if they're for the same object because it's gonna each one. If this gets delayed, it's going to tell the story of here's what it looked like when I got the change. So if this is delayed, it's just going to tell you, if associated project name changed, it's going to tell you what it is now versus what it was. So there is some downsides here to this method. The reason I don't do this in the actual databases, I could use change detection, I could do all sorts of stuff in the actual databases, but they don't always have enough information about the peripheral pieces. So if the project name changes and the planning item is associated with the project, if I change the project, let me go back to that. So right now, projects is stored inside of tenant management. That's going to change eventually, but that is where it's stored right now. Planning has a reference to a project. It only has a GUID reference, right? If I change the project that planning item is associated with, I say, oh, it's not associated with stories anymore, it's associated with UI. Planning can produce only that GUID X changed to GUID Y. That's all it could produce. So even if I move changes into the internal pieces, it doesn't benefit me. I still need to enrich that data because planning doesn't know what name is. Obviously, one option is, oh well, I care about projects, therefore I should store the project names. That's one viable option, right? I don't want to create a query to link to tenant management. There should be no hard links here. That is by design. I do not want to make it so that this system is dependent upon other pieces of the system, right? So this is isolated. So I can't put change there. And even if I did, I'd have to enrich it somehow. So what I do is I publish the message, changes fires and says, oh, take care, Junicus. Thank you for coming hanging out for a bit. Good to see you. And looking forward to hearing about the keyboard. So if the project name if the project changes from X to Y, I want to know about it. So changes is going to say, yep, project changed. Pipeline picks that up and says, oh, project X. Yeah, you've got to persevere, by the way. It is weird to get used to changing the way you type. So yeah, pipeline will pick it up and add, oh, you mean project story to project UI. And every time I do this, I get stuck on I actually update that. I did. Okay. It took. So yeah, this is still kind of, it has the potential for giving you misinformation, but if everything's running as intended, which it should be doing, it's going to give you accurate information, right? If you change the string value, changes will tell you the string value changed. It does not need to go to pipelines to calculate it, so it does not have a temporal dependency. If you change the name of a project, right, and then a change releases that says, let's say you change project X to be story, and it was previously stories. If a change comes in after the fact that was created before it became stories or became story, it's still going to publish as the value it is now, which is a problem, but only if the system is not working properly. And again, you'd still have the change that says, okay, it changed from stories to stories, or vice versa. So you'd still have enough information to make that decision up. Okay, here we go. So now let's see. Do we have a source user? We have a source user. So it's pulled users. It's got two users again. Here we go, projects. This is the first time. So before projects, after projects. Changes, okay. Back to user. Back to projects. Back to user. Back to user. There we go. Okay, so this is working. Changes detail should get some values eventually. Pipeline's outbox should contain some records. There you go, 5 records. That's good. That's worrying. So what this should produce is a more detailed output, right? That's the idea of this. It should produce cannot do this as JSON. Toggle soft wrap. Either way, it does enrich the data. Not processing, that's the weird thing. I'll go back on that in a second. Okay, so what this did is it says, okay, well, here's the source information, here's the user information, right? So you can contact the user. This gets published as part of the message. Passing the email around the system, that might change. Again, mainly because in the world of GDPR, this is probably not solid to be passing around. Now, this is all internal data. This is all user data by an organization that has signed up. That's the intention, right? So it's not like this is someone's random email jumping on the system. However, this might not be what I want to do. This is so that as the message comes down, as the change gets stored, you don't have to keep referencing this or looking it up, etc. Because again, if this changes later on, what this was at that time is the thing that matters, right? So it might just be I store the name and drop the email, because then if I need to look up the user, I can still look them up by their identifier. That's one thing. So the change type is it was a modification, right? So then again, the changes, now we enrich the changes. So if we look at the raw change for this, the raw change looks like this. No, not for this one. Which one is this one? Associated projects. Here we go. Actually, it's this one. Here's the one. This is this message, right? So it is a planning item type change. Associated projects before were planning changes and notifications, again with their GUIDs, right? All we got in the original changes was this was the original list, and this is what it was after it changed. And it says, okay, now you changed, and it became changes and notifications. So we could take this change down to the client and display it without actually processing it again in the view. We don't have to do any extra processing. This can be published, and you could consume this from any system and have the data as you need to. I want to meet Jeffrey Winkle one day. So there we go. That's that pipeline. However, something is not fully working because date process is not happening. So why is date process not happening? Okay, that still works. Nice. So console tabs, program. This is again where we need to look for when it comes to um, there we go. It's still errored. When it comes time to look at things like why is my brain not working on this? Open telemetry. When we're looking at telemetry, logging, it's these sorts of things that we need to hook into and figure out, okay, well this service part is failing because it will not drop the service because it's just going to error. Right? What's happening here is this is just backing off and backing off and backing off. So it's going to back off for 45 seconds. I don't know why I've put milliseconds in the string, but whatever. Value cannot be null, error while publishing, error while publishing. So what cannot be null is the question. Reduce build and publish async, publish event. What cannot be null? What is possibly null in this? Because it's not. This hasn't changed. Or has it? Outbot service, publish event. So outbots, sadly, is well, not sadly, correctly, is part of another library. Which I also probably need to update, to be honest. That might be the problem. Oh no, that would be bad. I probably need to update it. Let's start there. Oh, we don't want to upgrade that one. We don't want to go to .NET 9 just yet. That one, upgrade that. Yeah, 803. Yes, it needs updating. 820. Oh, they've released another version. Interesting choice. That is an interesting choice. Gotta be careful here. I do not need to upgrade to .NET 9. That would be a bad choice at this point. Because that would just be chasing too many differences. It's reasonable to believe that because I'm on the older version of the library here, that that is why the MongoDB piece isn't working. Yeah. Samples, MongoDB sample program. Run that. This will validate that MongoDB will serialize and deserialize. But again, it's using the same library, so it's there you go. It produced and deleted. Yep. Hello world MongoDB outbots. So it produced a message, which is what it would have done anyway, because this would never have failed because it was always using itself. So, but we'll update that. Update. Update libraries. Update to latest Kafka library. Yeah. Update MongoDB to 8.20 from 8.0.2, I think it was. Push that. I'm not messing around with trying to swap out my implementation, the NuGet package. I'm going to build the new NuGet package and get that produced so that I can pick that up. That was a commit to main. Being that I'm the only contributor to the library, I'm not going to panic about that. This is Kafka extensions. This is open source if anyone's interested. If you want a library that wraps some of the Kafka behavior, this will provide that. So that's main, and then I go to releases, then draft new release, choose a tag 0.0.13, update to latest MongoDB and Kafka libraries. MongoDB changed. Zero. See, what I've just done though, by doing this, is if someone was using this library, I've now just created the same problem for them as that. I've just forced their hand. If they're using MongoDB outbots, I know no one's using it, right? I'm not under any illusion, but this change does have ramifications beyond what Mongo did, right? If someone is using the older driver for outbots, this potentially causes them to have to upgrade all their Mongo stuff, right? Oh, you're big NoSQL fan, huh? Changing it to 8.0. This updates to latest library. And if you support the better serialized. What don't you like about Mongo? Genuinely interested, genuinely asking. This might not be the fix, by the way. This could just be a red herring, but it is worth validating this first before I go digging even deeper. Well, I'm waiting for that. I need to give that a minute. I do need to do a better job on keeping up. Yeah, if you do like .NET content, Both Thindle and Emporium Guys streams do have .NET. Both have Blazor of late as well. Thindle's worked on different projects on stream, personal sites and a large shopping site, migrating stuff from older platforms, and also building new software. Super knowledgeable developer, a lot of experience, and Emporium Guy is getting into development. Is I applaud just the depths of learning and the amount of effort put into being better at everything and trying to get a deep understanding, and that shows through on the stream and is well worth watching, um, and always worth bringing up great Apple products. Emporium Guy will just embrace a conversation around Apple in a way that you cannot appreciate until you've experienced it. 2022, I had a lot of issues trying to use Mongo, and it felt like they were pushing me to use their cloud service. That's interesting because I've had a different experience with Mongo. So when I was using Mongo in my past place, I downloaded it. They contact you pretty quickly, as do most companies these days on in terms of sales. And they were super supportive. They said, "Hey, can we sit down, have a conversation about your use case?" We went through it with them. They're like, "Okay, well, obviously in you're not going deep into the product yet. So, but if you need any assistance, let us know." We were talking about on-prem. We weren't talking about cloud stuff. They didn't push for that direction, so it felt opposite. So from a business perspective, it didn't feel too bad. Um, yeah. Okay, let's do this. This is going to be manage NuGet packages. I don't need to panic about upgrading. So this is going to be TBD develop. There you go. It's picked it up. Please tell me incremented that number. Do 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 do. I've got an awful feeling that something expired the other day. I know it worked. 1.3 went to. I think this token is about to expire, but we'll see. Your API key expires in 5 days. Yeah, knew it. Nice. Yeah, I mean, I was trying to self-host and stuff, so no salespeople. It's similar to Docker's docs being for Docker desktop, and the CLI does docs are not as obvious. It's not updated the cache yet. I'm just signing into to NuGet. Oh yeah, has updated. Okay. Cool. There we go. Ubisoft. Hello, how you doing? Sorry. Okay, so let's get upgrade packages. We are not going to select everything because that would be madness right now. Actually, it has upgraded. It's filtered it appropriately, so that's good. Upgrade everything to 1.3. Everyone's favorite non-bot bot. Unable to restore run back package. Unable to find Kafka extensions with version greater than or equal to. No, that's hilarious. The cache hasn't fixed it yet. Sorry. So it knows it's there, but it hasn't updated it yet. Let's see. Upgrade. Detected package downgrade from. No, don't do this to me. Do not do this to me. What have you changed? Share kernel. So it's. That's a delete. That hasn't upgraded. $40.70 was derived. Nice. NuGet. Oh, this is annoying. That's gone. That's mixed it. Awesome. So it knows 13 is available, but when you go to load it, it doesn't know 13 is available. So that's what's tripped that up. So this has just got a whole lot messier. Upgrade. It's just the NuGet cache being out. Yeah. Package downgrade from Kafka extensions 13 to 12. View infrastructure receivers. Manage NuGet packages. Grade. It's not a downgrade. I'm not downgrading it. Okay. 13, 13. Come on. Build selected projects. Detected package downgrade 13 to 12. 13, 13. Found 12 versions. I feel like the solution project structure is no longer optimal. .NET should make an alternative. Hey, Zons. Alternative in what direction? Like what would they do differently? I mean, so they've simplified project files down from what they used to be, and they've recently. Well, it can do that essentially. Folder solution and project files are just yeah. Folder structure and just run it. But then you end up with a well, what does it include? How does it include things, right? So you need some sort of configuration. If you go to things like Angular, you end up with, you know, things to include and things not to include. You end up with a structure there. So you end up with, if I go over to Liquid Sky Angular project, right? I've got Angular JSON, I've got package JSON, I've got tsconfig JSON, I've got tsconfig app.json. These are just the same sort of stuff, just dumped into multiple different files for different tools. Oh no. This is annoying. So the IDE knows that. So the NuGet refresh identify that 13 is available, but when it goes to pull, the NuGet package cache does not have 13 yet. If you head to a microservice world, things should become simpler and modular. The current structure is very monolith, desktop app based. I like structure. Keeping the structure feels like an unending battle, though. Morning, Mr. Ranhorn. How you doing? Simpler and modular. I'm not sure. Not sure. I'd be interested to know what. Yeah, but how do you? So you have Go handles it very well. I haven't used a Go project, so I wouldn't have that reflection. But there's still going to be some package dependencies. There's still going to be something that tells it to use the latest version. Each folder is its own includable package. This is messed me up. Nearest version 12. So it knows it's there, but it doesn't know it's there. That's annoying. How to manage the global package cache. But NuGet is not installed as a command. Oh, okay. I can use .NET. Okay. Modular monoliths are better. I think we just nowadays create much simpler API executables. I wouldn't say we create much simpler. And what was it on? I'm just trying to see if I can understand how to. I've not done this before. You should find 13. The old school definition of a monolith was a single executable. Microservices were from SOA, where they split domain services into multiple services. Okay. No package cache. Tell me you're going to work now. Because you have to re-pull everything. Yes, there's many service executables. And I think we end up with slightly different definitions, slightly different, pros and cons. Again, so one of the things that the definition, what Liquid Sky is it's not a microservices project. It's not a modular monolith. If we go by the idea that a modular monolith is a monolith that can be assembled from its component pieces, it's a distributed monolith. I can't Mojo, you normally have the charts available. You remember the chart I'm talking about, right? Liquid Sky is a distributed monolith. Which I'm okay with. It makes sense, and what matters more is the fact that the people working in the software can maintain the software. That matters more than anything else, in my opinion. The detected package reference the package directly from panning internal. At work, we set up a NuGet package repo for the domain models. It's a project of itself, then each executable domain models. So everything is shared across everything. That's just breaking because the application's breaking. That's fine. Let's do manage NuGet packages. Let's see. You still think you're on that. You still think you're on that. Pipelines detected package downgrade from 8.2 to 8.1.1. So that's changed as well. Awesome. We'll upgrade that. That's fine. That might be risky, but we'll see. Yeah, because if a message comes in, we want to map as well as we can. Right. There's many different ways of doing that. No, I want to go to 8. What was that version then? It blinded me. That's the highest 8 version, right? Yes, upgrade. So I have a shared kernel project, right? And shared kernel is actually Foundation, right? So Foundation is its actual own repo. Now all the events that go through the system are all in here, and the shared pieces. So the messaging component here is the shared domain. Each entity, each service has its own domain. But again, if you look at this, you might, oh, well, it's this, it fits in this box, it fits in this box. And overall, to me, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because I don't care about fitting someone's expectation. Architecting a sub-second latency messaging system has been a challenge. Sub-second latency. How do you handle that? How do you cope with the failure? Aiming to use Kafka. And Kafka is very good, but part of distributing systems is you can't rely upon guaranteeing you can't rely upon something existing, something being there in a time frame. Poly helps from an HTTP perspective, yeah, making sure, yeah, but that's not. So there's right now there's one component in this system that uses HTTP, and that's going away eventually. The internal piece here. This allows me to promote a ticket to a planning item. So there's like an internal API, and the tickets system has an HTTP component. No polywrapped around that right now because again, I believe in failing and seeing the failures often. So don't try and defend against things I don't know what's going to happen with. Why is all this going weird? Oh, tell me. Is this building? This building is just all messed up because I've done, let's see. Yeah, part of the fun of distributed computing is understanding. So I didn't fix the problem. All that for not fixing the problem is annoying. Understanding what happens when you don't have messages that you expect to have, or having the ordering of the messages messed up, or what happens if a message doesn't arrive. But how do you handle that? That's what I'm saying with open telemetry, understanding where the system's going wrong, doing a pass that is purely focused on that strategy. Value cannot be null. Publish message. So that's still failing. That's okay. Well, it's not okay, but it's going to have to be. Value cannot be null. Publish message. Publish event. So the outbot service, publish event. Why are you all sorts of weird? That's okay. What is going wrong here? Eight 8011. Implicitly installed. That's interesting. 8011. Upgrade that. That'll implicitly upgrade. Platform that has baked in. Sorry. I really like using Dapper because it has some pretty sane defaults. Gotcha. How am I hosting Liquid Sky right now? I'm not. I mean, I'm using Kubernetes. That's part of this entire flow is to try and get back to using Kubernetes. Do not want to upgrade to 9 yet. We're not ready for .NET 9. This piece all started because I decided that I need to condense two projects because they don't really make sense as being separate projects, and it adds extra overhead on the deployment and the services. Now I'm regretting it. Build solution. That's fine. Let's have a look back here. So the goal for Liquid Sky is very much, hey, here's the development, here's the process I've gone through to build this application. If and when I have to worry about really deploying it, the goal will be to have learned the lessons I need to understand. Okay, is there What do I need to look at in terms of cloud to deploy it? Do I need to change some of the things around? Do I need to fix things or change things? This is not. Let's see if it builds independent. Yeah, it builds. Just confused. Things have gone wonky. Okay, this is failing at. Let's test that once more. So everything's upgraded. I'm opening the latest version of Entity Framework Core. Publish event. Publish event. Publish event. Outbox service publish event. Topic is not null. Then do that. Where are you failing? Linkages. Yeah. Yeah, it's linkages. Settings. Editor. JetBrains mono. With linkages enabled. See if you see them. It puts the line underneath the greater. Yeah. So publish event. Publish async. Produce a build. What is going wrong? Publish async. So it's getting into. It is getting into here, into the publisher. The publisher is injected, right? Kafka publisher. Now it's, and then it's getting into here, where it's doing producer builder. Null serializer T event. Null serializer just allows me to be understanding if it's null. Can you show me the UI when you get a chance? The UI for Liquid Sky? Yeah. Sai, thank you very much for the raid. Welcome in. How's it going? I was lurking in your stream all morning. Haven't been over to Sai's stream before. He's developing an application for tracking personal goals. Yeah, tracking tasks. Unplanned stream. Can go with sleep. The best kind of streams. You make some progress today? I got to the computer, realized you were streaming, jumped in your stream, but didn't want to chat because I was setting up my stream. So I apologize for not chatting. But yeah, let's start this up so Zones can see it. Found bugs, fix them. That's the best thing to do with bugs. Let's start up. So I find out I've created all sorts of problems now. Read only view. Start that up. So the UI for Liquid Sky right now, the goal for Liquid Sky, by the way, is to get someone to do an actual design of the application for us, and we are working on that. Because as good as I am at UI design, it's not ideal. This should just take a second to load. Yeah, there you go. So with Liquid Sky, we have the planning items. The planning items have requirements. What I'm trying to work on right now is the concept of pulling through these changes so it gives this definition, right? This is what I'm working on right this second. This tightening this piece up where it will actually tell me, here's what changed, by the way, and show you the most recent change at the top. So it acts like a timeline of changes within the past week, I think, is the goal there, to focus that. Yeah. So it was working in August, right? Is that August? Yeah, most recent first, yeah. Is there anything in particular you wanted to see, Zones, on the UI? So the purpose of this is, when as a developer, I don't care about this piece, right? Gotcha. So as a developer, I don't care about this piece, right? The planning, the preparation, all those sorts of things that go into figuring out what a story is. This is all product management side, right? So planning items live over here. A requirement is, it could be considered what we call a story now, right? And the idea is that for a given requirement, we can track tasks, right? So if we go to the tasks piece of this, tasks is a pending name. We have the backlog of tasks. This is the work that actually needs to be done. So what I'm trying to do with the planning is separate out that concept of, here's what we think we want and here's what we actually need. Because what happens in Jira is you end up with this massive backlog of stuff. Oh, just drop that in the backlog. Just drop that in the backlog. Just drop that in the backlog. We'll fix that later, right? What I want to do is separate that out. And as a product manager, I can set a review date on this. So I can say, okay, we need to review this next month. We need to review this next year even, right? So it can still live in here and just get filtered out, right? So if it's not current, it's upcoming. Hi, Phil Snummel. And this is who it's assigned to from the product management team, what projects they feel it touches, what status it's in. And the goal of this is so that management themselves can keep themselves responsible for tracking any changes to this. They can understand where the progress is. There will be a larger piece, which is initiatives that planning items will roll up into. And the goal is very much to put the focus back on product management there. When it comes to the actual work, right, and this is where we often struggle, and this might not fit with anyone's expectations of what is a good process. But what happens is the developers can come in here and add tasks, right? So they can add a task, and that is a piece of work to be done. So one requirement here could yield many tasks. And QA might be testing at the requirement level, but they might also be testing at the task level if they need to. But again, QA can figure that part out while discussing with the developers, and the work can be defined and broken down in a way that it makes sense to the developers. It can wrap up so that the product management can see, oh, this has 5 tasks associated with it. If a new task gets added, the product management team can be told, oh, they added more work to this piece, and they can ask the question, why did more work get added to this piece? We thought it was well defined. You know, those sorts of challenges can happen. You can probably potentially lock it down. QA, you mean the developer? In some worlds, yes. So from the task perspective, this is where the backlog of work actually is, right? We don't have things in here that aren't defined by the development teams. And then the sprints live in here. So the sprint boards are work to be done and set out. A couple of things. Yeah. So is this building? My personal opinion, no need to take it, but I'd say to be a bit more opinionated if you can. Opinionated in what direction? Uh, 11 and 11. Update EF core to last 8 version 2. One with Jira is that it lets you do what you want, which turns into a mess. I would be interested in a system that nudges the team to work in a certain way and deviate only when necessary. So that's some of the challenge, right? So the problem is that if we go to Agile, right, it's people people and process over tools or whatever, right? So the Jira kind of embraces that in that you can work however you want to work. The problem is that teams, I agree with you, teams do need that definition. So so you can choose to so the planning the idea of the planning is to try and make sure that they at least follow the flow. So to use this tool and use it in the same way as Jira would hurt, right? So again, why we're dogfooding this, why I'm trying to get to the point of deploying this is so that Mojo and I, as we build this application, so Mojo is working on the control tower, which is the back end component, so the management system for this, for the product stack as it stands. But the idea is that we can dog food the application by using this, and we can test these facilities out. One of the goals I have is that for any given thing, the product management team can see the progress. For an initiative with planning items, for a planning item with tasks, and then the sprint board is its own thing. But to use this in the Jira workflow would hurt, right? Because this isn't where, you know, the way things would be done. You could potentially just use tasks, and tasks would give you the facilities that Jira does. What I'm trying to do is make this side of things as lightweight as possible, because ultimately, as developers, what you care about is what work am I needing to do and what work am I doing now, right? If you have no work, like you have nothing in progress, then you need what's available to me. And again, this backlog is a groomed backlog that is added by the developers and approved by developers, and this is actual tasks that have been defined. The planning can still exist without any of those tasks, right? So it's up to the product management team to do that. So there is a recommended workflow here, and again, I think the sticking point with Jira is when we try to fit the concepts of things like Agile and Scrum into what we understand from them, and then we try to fit them into Jira. They have their own spin on things. Agile, yeah, yeah. Usually I see it as just not wanting to do the work needed to be organized, so it turns into a massive ad hoc mess. No, after doing this several times over, after doing this a lot, I genuinely feel it's just we lack the ability to self-organize. And all I'm doing with this tool is trying to prompt the actions necessary to Jira is a reporting tool first. I let team self-organize and then they let me down. Jira, above all things, is a reporting tool to try and indicate to management where things lie and allow management to say, we have, you know, burned down the product team, the development team's not being effective enough. What Liquid Sky does is breaks that out into what is planned and what is ready, what is done, and allows shifts in that behavior to be visible and reported upon quickly. And there's an entire plan for notification, very granular notification, right? So if a planning item is not ready because the review date's passed and nothing's moved on it, management can be told about that without a developer even being involved because it's a planning concern. There are some planning tools in Jira beyond what is there. I get that. But this is very much about the reporting and that workflow. So the goal for this before Christmas, what I want to have happen is this be available for anybody to log into and test while I'm on stream. Yeah, basically state transition, checking churn rate and whatnot. Yeah. Hey, Ian. How you doing? So Jira is very much about tracking, the progress of things. And what I want to do is disconnect that so that the development team can still break stories down. They can say, hey, this is actually a technical task. They don't have to worry about that. Oh, well, we can't have a technical task in a story, or we can't put technical requirements in the story because the story is the story. The story can still be the story in the planning item. Right? It can be defined, the requirements can be defined in language that the product team understands, and the tasks that consist of that story consists of are identified by the developers and broken down and able to be worked on in small, manageable pieces that they can then roll up into the greater story. If they find that there's extra requirements, they can talk to the planning team. That can be reviewed and decided upon and then added, and that shift can be reported without any involvement of the developers, right? Here's a simple example of opinion. Not saying this is valid, but instead of simply devs scoring stories, have management score a value point in a story. Then management can see value created per sprint, not just features completed, which is amorphous. I'm doing good. So one of the ideas that's in the backlog zones, by the way, is the idea of putting essentially what you've just said on here. So the points would get development points would go in here, and you would see, 28, whatever. The points would go on the tasks, right? But the product team could put an actual value on the story, right? Not value, business value. So there is actually that concept in the backlog of things to implement. So this is going to change slightly in terms of this is not going to be title and description. This is actually going to be purpose, because the requirements lay out the story, not the so the purpose, like what problem is this solving? How essential is this problem? And also tracking where this problem came from. Was it developed because of the management team, or did it come from the customers? Those sorts of trackings are going to be necessary as well. You go deep enough, it's all complexity. The context in which an implementer thinks, though, is vastly different and can't be seen by designers. So yeah, that's why requirements break down. He says you can't find one with requirements attached to it. So requirements are, this is what I actually want to do. Can see Liquid Sky on the site. I should be able to navigate to Liquid Sky software and see a login page. Can register a new tenant. I should be able to sign up, blah, 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 blah. And these tasks, there might be many different. We've gone through this process a few times now with different planning items and identified this actually does work pretty well. It describes what we would class as a story, but then the tasks can actually be independent. So, setting something up, configuring something, because they could be worked on in parallel, etc. Another idea here is also this concept of groups. Basically, a requirement could have DevOps requirements, it could have development requirements, it could have QA requirements, right? QA could actually create some tasks to say, okay, this is how we're going to test this and break it down that way so that you will actually see, ultimately, I don't want to see numbers here. I want to see kind of a bar showing who's got what of the overall tasks for a requirement. And if it's stuck in, again, if the developers have finished what they need to do, right, all the tasks have gone over to complete, the sprint's done, etc. Should that matter that QA still has testing on it? QA could work off process, right? So a requirement could have QA requirements still, right? QA tasks still outstanding. So this requirement, this planning item is not finished until QA is done on it. So again, that focus goes off the development team because the developers have done what they need to do. QA are validating things. If something needs to get added again because a QA has identified a defect, that can be tracked and that workflow can be shown, right? Because an extra task can be added. We know why it got created. So again, visibility into the overall process. And I think that's where we get stuck. We end up doing a lot of reporting on not knowing where things lie. And if a QA doesn't get to testing something until a week or 2 weeks later, and then it comes back, should that story move back? Was it done properly? You know, those are questions to be answered. But right now, this does force a path, but still has a bit of flexibility in it, so it's not completely off the rails. But anyway, I gotta figure out what. Oh crap! I am way over time as well. Got me talking, didn't you? So ultimately, Liquid Sky, it doesn't look stunning. The intention will be to get someone to do an overall design. And get a more consistent look to it and a better look because I'm terrible at design. But right now, this is using Angular with Prime NG controls. But overall, it doesn't look terrible. It gets the idea across. And there we go. If you are interested in talking about this more, yeah, right. If you are interested in asking further questions, you want to know more information about it, you have ideas or problems with it, you want to continue discussion, there is a Discord link in the cards below. You're always more than welcome to chat about it off stream. We also do sometimes jump in Discord and have a chat off stream. Which is fun. Obviously, with the holidays, I would expect fewer of those to happen, but you never know. Okay, so oh, there we go. You timed that right. So okay, so the ETL tool is working. We did get that progress made today. Obviously, I've got a bug somewhere in here that I need to debug now. I'll try and do stuff off stream where I can to try and lower the boring stuff on stream. But this is the process, right? This is why I'm streaming this. This is why I've been doing this for as long as I have. And we'll get there, right? These are real problems. Something is going wrong in serializing the message to be published to Kafka. So either it can't pull some data out, or the MongoDB stuff is wired up wrong. But this actually exposes another problem in that I have a set of NuGet packages that I've built that I'm consuming in the main application. But now how do I debug those NuGet packages without actually having to rebuild and republish every time I make a change? Can I make it pick up those NuGet packages, those things from within here and debug that? That's going to be my next course of action, to try and point it at an actual thing, and see what happens. So anyway, that is me. We're going to go raid Emporium guy. I will be back tomorrow. Some more of this. No planned miss streams this week. So we should have a full 5 days, and we'll see how far we can get. And again, the goal is to pick up by the end of the week, try and pick up getting the remaining services working inside of the application. And then hopefully early next week, if anyone's interested, if you're hanging around, I will open up the actual site and let you register. Even if I open it up right now and you register, all you'll do is register. You can't do anything else because it won't give you the permissions required to actually use the application, which is good for me. But I will figure out that. And I also want to figure out how to ask you for feedback effectively so I can track it. Again, I'm not looking for ideas. I'm not farming ideas here. What I'm doing is trying to see, does it solve some of the problems that you have with the current processes and the current tools? Does it help? Can you see how it helps you move forward? And what features do you think it's lacking? So yeah. Patrick, before we leave, how was your first day? Good, I hope. A little sick. Like this guy kidding me. Yes, solves all the problems. And eventually, I will reveal the real name of this project. Right now, it's still Liquid Sky. A lot. I'm extremely overwhelmed. That is a first day. Just have fun. You have an office. Nice. I'm a previous startup founder, so I'm very eager to help narrow down as much useful feedback as I can give an actual usage of it. Nice. Well, Zones, I appreciate the input. I appreciate the feedback. This is exactly why I stream. So I'm always open to discussions. And by the end of the year, we'll see if Liquid Sky starts to look like a real product or whether it's a non-starter. If this becomes a non-starter, if this is something that I just cannot get to, everything will get open sourced. Or passive run off. It's just a tall cubicle with a closing door, so I can still hear everything everyone else is doing. Hey, it's got a door. It's an office. Take it. Is there any chance it could be shipped in alpha earlier? That's the point at which I'm trying to decide how much is in there. But we'll see. I don't want to. The one thing I'm scared of is releasing it and then having people actually use it, and then their feedback, I need this, I want this, without understanding what my vision is, becomes a problem. So I don't want to say, hey, here it is, too early, without learning how to set the expectations. But it's got side cabinet, desktop, height adjustable standing desk, a hutch looking thing, and 2 chairs even, so I'm calling it an office. Yeah, that's an office. I don't need to call it an office. It's an office. You've got an office. Nice. Well, there you go. But anyway, I have to go. It's 9:13. I have a job to do. Yeah, jump in the Discord if you want to have a chat more about Liquid Sky Ever. Always happy to talk about it. And yeah, I'm working on trying to share more information and gather feedback. So thank you all. We're going to raid Emporium guy. He just started streaming, so stick with him. He's learning how to do Blazor. He's trying to learn a lot of things at once. He's doing a fantastic job. Super smart guy. And yeah, I will see you again soon. Take care all. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.